Welcome back to Good Morning La La Land. We are live in Los Angeles with Gloria Garayua.
Yes.
Welcome to the show. Thank you. So we know that you are back on The Reckoning. Tell us about the show and your role.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so I play a detective on Reckoning. So Reckoning is being produced by Sony Pictures Television, and it's an American series, but we shot it in Australia last year. So I got to spend 4 months in Australia.
What
Tough
was it
life.
like living
I
in
know, it's so hard being
Tough
mean.
life on set in Australia. Yeah.
It's living the dream, right?
So tell us a little bit about
So The Reckoning is, actually it's just Reckoning, not The Reckoning, is about a serial killer. So it stars Adam Young from Rectify and Sam Tremmel from True Blood. And so, I don't want to tell you who the serial killer is because I happen to know, but it's about a serial killer, and that's my case. That's the case that I'm working on. And I end up being paired with Aiden Young's character, so we're detectives together trying to figure this out. And his character is very obsessed over the case, where my character is able to leave her work at work, and I'm able to have a life. But my character is very tough, very good at her job, very cut and dry. I also play a lesbian character, which I think is awesome. So there's a lot of that comes up later on in the story. My character had a dark history in Southern California and had to leave the police district where she was working. So she goes up to Northern California and then ends up at this precinct where she ended up with Aiden Young, Aiden Young's character. Yeah.
Americans love a crime drama.
Right.
We really do. How do you think that is, that it just grips the audience?
We love thrillers. I love thrillers too. What grips them? It's the not knowing. It's the mystery. Yeah.
The same thing that drives most people nuts about life. they all complain.
We just wanna watch it.
Yes, just watch it, not experience
Not live it.
Yeah.
So did you always have that mystery figured out? Did you have a clarity that you wanted to be an actor, that this is the career you wanted to pursue?
I wanted to be a doctor for a long time, and I chose acting because I figured I could be creative and still help people.
Yes.
I wanted to influence people to change their minds by hopefully the work that I'm doing. Yeah.
That's profound, actually. Yeah.
We always think that, acting seems to be one of the highest careers on this planet because we're really just playing a game of life here. And so getting to character is so interesting. What's been your favorite character out of all the ones you've played?
I played a character that was blind, and I got to touch Stanley Tucci's face, and I had such a crush on him for a while there. So that still remains my favorite job ever, just because I had a crush on him. Yeah.
Well, now he knows.
Now he knows. But I was on Grey's Anatomy for a long time, so that was amazing. And then How to Get Away with Murder was amazing. I got to work with Viola Davis. Did like a 9-episode arc on that show, so that was great.
What was that like for you?
I played another detective. There's a running theme in my life here. Maybe I missed my calling. But yeah, it was amazing to work on that show. Everyone is such a real artist on that show. You know, people that don't understand acting, they think it's so glamorous, but when you're working, you really care about what you're doing, so you're doing it as well as you can. And so these are really amazing artists.
You're right, they do think it's so glamorous. What do you think the biggest misconception about it is, though?
That it's just stuff like this,
Yeah,
right?
all day,
I mean,
all
I'm
day.
honored to be here, but every day is a hustle. Even though I'm super proud of everything I've achieved in my life, it's always like, what's next? What's the next project? We don't know yet if there'll be a season 2 of Reckoning. So with any actor out there, you're always thinking about what's the next project, right?
So I have a question for you. So obviously you're a very talented actor. How much do you feel like that plays into it versus who you know or how nice of a person you are into getting the roles?
I think it's a lot of who you know. I don't have any connections in this industry, so everything I've accomplished, I've done on my own merits and my own efforts, and it's been hard. I wish I had family in the industry that can just sort of grandfather me into something, but it doesn't work that way for all of us. So some of us are actually auditioning constantly, hustling, training. I also teach acting. I like staying in the know, and I love what I do, but it is not the easiest thing I picked. I mean, I could have picked something. I should have been a doctor, right? or a detective. Yeah.
I think you make more money probably than detective. Well, no, better known. What would you say is the greatest lesson you've learned along the way?
To have empathy for others. I think it's the only way you can be an actor, if you have concern and care for others and you understand their circumstance. It's always a struggle to get into someone else's shoes. I try to connect as best as I can, but I think empathy is the one thing I've learned. Yeah.
That's so
It
powerful.
is powerful.
So being a detective, one more question. So human behavior, because we're obsessed with human behavior and positivity, and really that, it's one and the same, understanding the darkness, you really understand the lightness at the same time. And we found that obviously through so many of the crimes or whatever, it's because they've had abuse or things have gone on in their lineage. Has there been anything that surprised you in the cases that, have come about in the writing? Something that's like different in human behavior?
Well, when they're writing for viewership, and so it's not always true to life, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of things have surprised me, but it's always because they have to do a turn for the show, right, to keep the viewership coming back. But it's interesting, as an actor, psychology comes into it a lot.
course,
Yeah.
yeah.
And understanding why someone does something. Why does someone kill? I don't know. I've never killed anything, right?
Right.
Except cockroaches. I don't know why someone kills, but I know that in the writing of that, they go back to the childhood of that serial killer. There's always a trigger point, right, of something that turns someone's mind.
Is there any little hacks you've discovered for embracing these characters that sometimes feel hard to identify with? Anything you've discovered over the years, just in terms of
I think
acting
you
that
can
helps
always
you?
find a prototype. So I think about, who do I know that reminds me of this, or anybody in my family, or can I identify elements of myself in this character that I can bring to life?
I love that.
Yeah.
Fantastic. How do you keep the faith when things are tough in the business?
That's a great question. I believe in God, and I believe in the universe, and I pray, I meditate. I have to stay strong because no one's going to do it for me.
Yeah.
I've been working my butt off in this industry for 15 years, and I still haven't achieved everything I want to achieve. So I have to believe in myself. Yeah.
I love
That's so powerful. Tell everyone where they can find and follow your journey.
Gloria Garayua is my handle everywhere on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Garayua. Thank you for having me on the
Thank you so much
show.
for joining us.
Thank
Appreciate it.
you.
Stay tuned. We'll be back with more in Good Morning La La Land.